Noon radio show, approaching the middle portion of the equation. Marcus Foligno, beloved Moose, most recent winner of the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. He joins 35 minutes from now. Lions Vox Dan Miller joins 10 to 15 minutes from now to talk about one of the stacks that we're going to lay out. We're going to call it the Friday Stack Attack. Perhaps this catches fire. Perhaps the Stack Attack becomes ballyhooed, catches fire, and is sponsored by, like, Original Pancake House, where stacks of fluffy elite pancakes are to be had.
I always love that one.
Maybe Stack's Cafe in St. Paul for a quick bite and terrific cup of coffee. The 9 to noon Friday Stack Attack is provided by Stack's Cafe in St. Paul.
I always love that one.
Opportunities right in front of you if you want to make a little money. So come on in here and buy this ballyhooed Stacks bit. We'll tie it to talkbacks and make them talk stacks. We have some talk stacks, some talkback stacks. And here they are. Famous stacks. All right. Now, this is going to be sports related eventually, but when you think of the word stack or the name stack or the word stacks, famous stacks like this guy.
For every mystery, there is someone, somewhere, who knows the truth. Perhaps it's you.
Robert Stack.
That's Robert Stack. That's the most famous of all the stack attacks with the talkbacks or the talk stacks. Robert Stack. Of course, there's Jim Stack, the Minnesota Timberwolves general manager from 2004 to 2009. Jim Stack got a contract extension from the Hal in 2005 and subsequently was demoted to scout in 2009.
I always love that one.
No, we don't always love that one. Some luminaries this stacked when he was with our favorite NBA team include, but are not limited to, Rashad McCants, Bracy Wright, and Brandon Roy, who got really good after we traded him to the Portland Trailblazers.
I always love that one.
Robert Stack, Jim Stack. Oh, famous stacks. What about this lady?
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome women's hockey two-time Olympic silver medalist, Ohio's very own Kelly Stack.
Yeah!
Kelly Stack.
Kelly Stack, you found one.
I found two.
Finds an opening. Oh, hits the post and in. What a great goal by Kelly Stack. Little shake and bake there.
Did you hear that East Coast accent?
Oh, yeah.
Shake and bake there.
Well, that's what they do in the Bean Pot. Kelly Stack is Bean Pot immortality. Along with Robert Stack and Jim Stack, we have Kelly Stack for the Talk Stacks coming up soon. Kelly Stack, former Boston College Eagle and a Cleveland native. Ladies and gentlemen, Ohio's finest, Kelly Stack. She's a Cleveland native, two-time Olympian, couple of silver medals, as you just heard, for the red, white, and blue. She was Boston College's all-time leading scorer for women's hockey until a lady named Alex Carpenter passed her. But Kelly Stack is Bean Pot immortality. And that leads us into what the stacks are going to be for today. Who wants to sponsor this and make a little bit of money?
Join me. Watch closely. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Oh, yes! Oh, that's so beautifully set up. The Stack Attack is very compelling and very intriguing. In fact, it has a side of mystery to it.
Join me.
Yes.
Watch closely.
Listen closely.
Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Help us solve these mysteries. Talkbacks with these stacks. Free iHeartRadio app, up to 30 seconds. Old schoolers completely know what to do with it. But if you're new to the equation, if you're new to Rube Nation...
Oh, Rubes! So many Rubes! Rubes! Please, no Rubes!
How do you stack them? And with the stacks of these three subjects, and two are going to catch fire, one for sure will catch fire, how would you stack them with what you want and or how you think it will go? For instance, we dropped one about an hour ago with Parker Fox when he and his fiancee Taylor Heisey were kind enough to start 9 to noon Wolves trade targets. And there are other names that can be included here, and the talkback portion of the equation is completely up to you to take it where you want to take it. But when it comes to Timberwolves trade targets, one of them would be Giannis.
Yes, indeed. 32. He's going to make 58 next season, PA. Player option in 2027 with Giannis, average 67 games played per year the last 8 before playing just 36 this year. So calf thing, soft tissue, big people need healthy calves.
Texting Dan the man on the fan telling him we're going to be 5 minutes late.
He has mentioned Ant on at least two different occasions that he's a guy he'd love to play with. Windhorst has reported there's an appeal to playing with Ant. When healthy, we're talking nearly 30 a game, 11 boards, 6.5 assists. You can count on a block a game. I mean, it's the Greek freak for a reason. But 32, and he's going to require 58 this year and potentially low 60s if he player option stayed around in 27.
And then there's the point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies who has some shiny toy to him.
Yeah, Ja Morant, 20, 50, and 9. What are those? Those are the games played the last 3 seasons. He's played 79.
He only played 9 games last year?
3 years ago he did. 20 this last year. 79 total games in the last 3 seasons, which is a huge L. When he's healthy and flying, he's mid-20s, 8 dimes, handful of rebounds, steal a game. It seems like if you it's just devolving health-wise, losing steam. So the question with Ja, would a change of scenery set things right for him? He's still just 27 years old. He gets to the rim. He gets to the line. You know he's going to get to Ant a ton distributing the ball. So terrifically talented player. Questions, can he stay healthy? And some off-the-court history is part of that, too.
And what about the beefeater currently being employed by the team in New Orleans?
Yeah, Zion Williamson. So both contracts with Ja and Zion, it looks like they both signed 5-year, $197 million extensions. So they each have 2 years left on the deal, and it's low 40s each. And the thing with Zion, I mentioned games played. That's kind of a factor with these guys. 62 this last season, 30 the year before that. He's a low 20s in points scored, 7 rebounds, 3 or 4 dimes, a steal. Hasn't shot triples well since his rookie season. Still just 25. Another case where I just don't see growth there. But it kind of feels, and Parker mentioned this when he was in studio, does it kind of feel like we'd replace Julius Randle with a different kind of Julius Randle? That is a question for the listeners if Zion Williamson was made available and joined the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And let's not forget about the veteran point guard for the Dallas Mavericks. He used to play with LeBron. He's played with Tatum and Brown with the Boston Celtics. He's a high-ender coming off an ACL.
Yeah, he's not bad. Kyrie Irving. 1 year left on his deal, and then another player option, similar to Giannis. He'll make 39 this year, low 40s if he stuck around in 27. I mean, ball handling, are you kidding me? One of the best to ever. And so consider it handled. He beats us with Luka in the West title series 2 years ago. Comes back, he's balling again. He rips up his knee. He missed all of this last season. He's 34 years old, so you haven't seen him in a year, and he's getting older. Old people, how do they recover from injury? We shall see potentially. But Dallas is in rebuilding mode, so I'm sure they're open to options. We're talking mid-high 20s and 4+ assists, but obviously he's our second scorer next to Ant. If he's on our team or 1A, you can look at it like that. How would Jaden and others on this team potentially be affected by Kyrie joining this mix? I think that would be a question you'd have to ask and then answer it with the free talkbacks. Kyrie Irving among those 4, ranking them, stacking them, I should say. Stack them up and let us know how you look at those 4 options.
For every mystery, there is someone, somewhere, who knows the truth. Perhaps it's you.
So who do you want, or which way do you think they'll go with that stack? Giannis, Zion, Kyrie, or Ja Morant. NFC ESPN recently had some power rankings, and the power rankings went like this. Overall in the NFL, Green Bay, number 6, Detroit, number 8, Chicago, number 16, and Minnesota, number 19. If you were to stack the NFC, how would you stack it 1 through 4? Talkbacks. Best place to find the talkbacks would be?
Yeah, free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone and give us up to your best 30 seconds of stacking.
And finally, with the talkback stacks, the talk stacks, and we'll start those. We'll start those probably in the neighborhood of 11 o'clock. because around the corner we have an interview with the Vox. Then Marcus Foligno joins to talk about the King Clancy. Then at 11 o'clock, final hour is all about you with these talkback stacks.
I just got a text. I don't really get it. It says, your stacks bit is cool, but you didn't mention Pamela Anderson. Why would we mention her in relation to stacks?
Always.
I don't get it.
I didn't know Mouse had your number. Vikings quarterback's room. A lot of talkers with this of late. Some KO cuts earlier. How do you stack them 1 through 4? Like when the team plays Green Bay to start things in the
4 QBs
in the 2026 regular season. How do you stack them? You got J.J. McCarthy, you have Carson Wentz, you have Max Brosmer, and you have this guy.
Murray, empty backfield, 2 receivers right, 3 out to the left. They're all split, very far apart from each other. Here's
Positive
the snap. Minnesota rushes forward, design run for Kyler. Up the middle, 10-5, and Kyler Murray into the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona Cardinals. Well, he still has fewer rushing yards than Kirk, okay?
Right.
That's the second rushing touchdown of the season for young Kyler, and it is 2013 Minnesota.
Oh, Kyler runs, but Kyler throws too.
3rd and 10 Arizona from the Vikings 15. 3 receivers in a triangle to the right. Kyler empty backfield. Back to pass. Stays in the pocket. Spins out to his left. Pumps. Fires to the end zone. Man wide open. Touchdown. It's DeAndre Hopkins. And the closest Viking to him, well, it was Patrick Peterson. 7-6 Minnesota.
Yeah, but occasionally it goes to the wrong team.
All right, here we go. 1st and 10 from the 9 for Kyler. Shotgun, back to pass. Throws it front with his heels in the end zone. Intercepted by the Hitman at the 45. Makes the Cardinal miss at the 40. Heads to the right. Shakes the tackle at the 35. Harrison Smith is taken down at the 32-yard line. And for Harry the Hitman, he has 3 picks this year, 32 in his career, and the Vikings have the ball with excellent field position.
Kyler, the creator. So you have Kyler, Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy, Max Brosmer. Go ahead and stack them. NFC North, stack them 1 through 4. T-Wolves trade targets, Zion Williamson, Kyrie Irving, John Morant, or Giannis. Stack them via the talkbacks. We'll start playing them back relatively soon. Speaking of the NFC North, Detroit Lions play-by-play voice Dan Miller joins 9 to noon next.
Join them. Watch closely. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
You're listening live to Paul Allen at 9 to noon on iHeartRadio and FM 100.3.
Jared's got it. Wants to throw on 4th down. Does. Middle. Got it complete. Laporta, 20. Laporta, 15. Spinning at the 10. Fighting at the 5. Still going at the 3. To the 2. To the 1. To the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Sam Laporta giving out rides for free. Carrying Vikings into the end zone. 40 yards on the connection with Jared Goff.
Carrying Vikings into the end zone, you say? That's the voice of one of the best play-by-play voices in the National Football League, Dan Miller. He's Dan the Man on the Fan. I've been doing it for a couple of decades for the Detroit Lions. He joins us now. Carrying Vikings into the end zone, you just had to, rub it in on that play, didn't you?
Thank you for not playing one of the 10 sacks or whatever it was, 8 or 9 turnovers you guys had from us last year. I preferred that.
Yeah, that when the Lions signed Isaiah Pacheco and David Montgomery went to the Houston Texans and everything that was tied into that. When we're talking football, some people brought up, I think it was the second game against the Lions where Brian Flores assumedly put Jahmyr Gibbs in some very compromising pass protection related situations where he actually had to come out of the game a few times in some second and thirds and super long. With Jahmyr, who obviously is elite, he's all pro the minute the schedule comes out. Is that something that still is developing with him, Dan, the pass protection?
Yeah, but it is, and he's willing, but I just don't know if that's a position you necessarily want him in when you don't have to be. Look, there are going to be times, obviously, where you're going to give them a run look and you're going to pass, and he's going to have to do it. But there are other guys, I think, that they would rather have absorb that contact. If you go back to that game that you're talking about, I think it was in the teens, the number of times that he met a linebacker coming up the middle and had to absorb that. And that's just, I mean, look, he's willing, he's decent at it, but that's just not the top of his game. David Montgomery was obviously very good at that. Isaiah Pacheco's got a little more sturdy of a build to do something like that. So that was an eye-opening game, and there were questions about why he was left in that position as many times as he was. Look, he's a great player, as you alluded to, and you don't want to take him off the field, but you also want to be judicious in how you use him. And the Vikings beat him up that day. I guarantee you that was a rough Monday getting out of bed.
Dan, the purpose for the call in early June, I mean, we'll chat with Dan on this radio show good 3, 4, 5 times during the course of the year, but generally not in early June. We're doing something with the talkbacks here at iHeart and KFAN called Stacks, where we're like stacking some things with the Vikings quarterback, giving fans the opportunity to stack them 1 through 4. NBA Timberwolves trade targets with Giannis this, Zion Williamson that, and ESPN's most recent power rankings for the NFC for everybody in the NFL but the NFC North, and ESPN with the beat writer inclusion has Green Bay number 6 overall in the NFL. Your squad 8th overall, despite running last in the NFC North last year. Chicago 16 and the Vikings 19. I'm never offended by power rankings, but the purpose of the call is to chat out each team a little bit with you and see if we can low key rank them. And the fact that you guys, the Lions, have a 4th place schedule. I mean, I would imagine people have talked about it around there. That 4th place schedule ain't going to hurt, right?
No, I mean, that's 3 games against last place teams from last year, which certainly beats the heck out of what you had last year. We had 3 games against first place teams, but as we've seen, we don't know what that's going to mean. Witness New England last year going from last place to a Super Bowl in first place, and teams don't necessarily look in November like we think they're going to look in March. So that thing is fluid, but certainly I'd rather be on this side of it than that. I mean, you got to take your medicine, which is the last place finish from last year. That's not optimal, but
right.
I think the schedule plays into their favor as you look at it right now. But, PA, so much can change on both sides. That's injuries to their team, injuries to our team that can ultimately swing something like that. But the numbers right now, I guess you prefer to be in the position that they're in based on the schedule.
The Minnesota Vikings catch the Green Bay Packers to open the season here at U.S. Bank Stadium, Dan the Man on the Fan, which means we will get them without Micah Parsons, which is not just preferred, it's dramatically preferred, the difference he made in games last year. Now, Dan's team opens versus Nolans, then at Buffalo, Jets at home, at Carolina, at Arizona, then a bye, and then you host Green Bay Sunday, October 25th. Parsons absolutely should be back by then. He makes that much of a difference, doesn't he?
He does. And, I mean, we played them in the opener last year when he was just being used in spots, and he was a factor in that game. I mean, you knew he was there. You knew when he came on the field. It changed the dynamic of things. He's one of those guys that can change a game in one snap in this league from a defensive end position, and you have to be aware of where he is at all times on the field. So, it is better to catch Green Bay early in the season than late, but that being said, you don't know what other injuries will come into play and how that'll impact the Packers. But look, they shook the league up big time by getting him. And when he wasn't there, they were a different team. So I anticipate he will come back. He will come back motivated. And when he does, and you're right, we've kind of done the math. We may be the game that he comes back for.
Right.
So it certainly changes the way you look at the Packers if he's on the field versus when he's not on the field.
What do you think of Jordan Love? What are some things at this stage of his career you like, and some things viewing from afar where you're like, that probably needs to be better?
Yeah, I think he's a good quarterback. I still look at some of the throws that he makes, and I will give him credit. They tend to land where he wants them to, but I look at him sometimes and they look like arm punts. And he has a tendency of lofting the ball in a direction where he believes a receiver will be, that's where we need a guy like Kirby Joseph to go and get that ball. And there were a couple of times last year when we played them, when we didn't have Kirby, where I saw throws that he made, and I just thought, man, if we got Kirby out there, that's a different outcome. But it's kind of part of his makeup, and it is an interesting thing that he does. He's got confidence in it. He's got confidence in his receivers. I still think I have questions about how good he ultimately is, and if he is that guy when you get to the postseason that can be that significant difference maker. But sometimes that's also the guys that are around him. Is a Christian Watson healthy? Is a Jaden Reed healthy? What's their running game look like? So I think I would keep him shy of the group of guys that I think can go out there and get it done, and that you think can overcome a lot of things that might work against your team, but certainly good enough when everything is right to be an absolute factor and could take a team deep into the playoffs.
Do you fully expect your safeties to be healthy into the season, Joseph and Branch?
PA, I do not know. And I am somewhat echoing what Dan Campbell said yesterday. He was asked, first of all, I think you're looking at a traditional recovery for Brian Branch, which would put him somewhere in October, something like that, off an Achilles. Kirby Joseph, Dan Campbell was asked about it yesterday and gave a very honest answer. He said, I honestly do not know.
Oh, geez.
And they have done everything they can with that knee. There's nothing medically they can do, surgery or anything like that, to make it right. They've tried a lot of these, go to a foreign country and get a different kind of treatment. And I'm not medically inclined enough to be able to tell you what all of those are, but they have tried everything to get that knee, which is just degenerated at this point to the point where it's an issue, to where he can play. And he won't even be on the field, Dan Campbell indicated, until training camp. And he said, we won't know anything until he does. He said, we're doing everything we can. He's doing everything he can to put himself in position to be able to play. But there is certainly an element of pessimism about what his future is. And I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about his football future and where he may or may not be able to go. And it was a moment yesterday with Dan Campbell. He's as honest as any coach I've ever seen standing on a podium when it comes to a question. And he was very honest about this. I honestly think they just don't know if he's going to be able to play or not.
Boy, that's super sad. Holy cow. Dan Miller, play-by-play voice for the Detroit Lions. Some early June NFC North stacking here. With your squad, I see wide receiver Cedric Wilson is on the roster, at least for now. And I'm sure you know this, but he passes. Cedric throws the ball, and I know that because he's completed passes against the Vikings. With your squad, the Lions, do they still run tricks post-Ben? I mean, they still got a bunch of tricks up the sleeves?
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that last year, but now it's changed again, and we have a new offensive coordinator that's come in. So I can't answer that for this season.
Right.
Because John Morton, who had a relationship and had worked with Ben Johnson and did some of that stuff, we saw a little bit of that last year, certainly not to the level that we saw Ben. But I think we're all waiting to see exactly what this offense looks like. You brought in Drew Petzing, you brought in Kafka from the Giants. David Shaw is still here. So kind of the brain trust has changed, and we want to see what this looks like. And I think a lot of the elements will obviously be the same. There'll be a heavy reliance on play action, which means a heavy reliance on getting that running game going. And when you have those things working, then you can work in some of those trick plays. But I don't know exactly what it'll look like. The guy that usually keys a lot of those for the Lions is St. Brown, because he's just so good with the football. When you see them run a hook and ladder or something like that, it's usually somewhere in there. He's going to be the guy triggering that play. He's going to be the guy with the football in his hands because they have such incredible trust in him and his ability to carry those things out. So I'd imagine there will be an element of that because they feel like they have the players to do it. But you're going to watch it unfold as we watch it unfold because there's a new guy calling those plays.
ESPN's rankings had Green Bay 6th overall, the Kitties 8th, Chicago 16, Vikings 19. With the Bears, do you now with the first place schedule, do you put the Bears on any form of little regression off last year?
I'm trying to figure out what a team who had, 7 regular season wins in the last 2 minutes, where that goes. Do you take the next step to where those games aren't close and you're 10 points up instead of being in a back-and-forth one-score game? Or do you regress to the point where, you don't have the ability to make those comebacks? You don't get those breaks, some of which they certainly got last year in some of those games. And I need... Honestly, I can't have Caleb Williams be a 58% passer and think that team's going to consistently be elite. I think in this league, you need to be in that 64, 65, 66, 67 range, and he hasn't been there. And I think the byproduct of that is you see him miss some throws that he's got to be able to make. And then, of course, he makes throws that you're like, how in the world did he do that? So I'm watching his evolution, his improvement, his growth. And that's what I want to see with them. Last year defensively they had some issues. They've tried to address some of that. We'll see how that ends up working out in terms of their secondary in particular. But I'm locked into them to see if they can grow from last year, or if last year proved that they're kind of teetering right on the edge of being really good and needing a couple of breaks to make things happen. So I think when you have a season like that, I think it's fair to say, all right, let's see what you do now. And you need to see the continued growth of that quarterback. And PA, honestly, I feel like it could go either way. I feel like we could sit here still questioning him in a year from now. Or I feel like if he locks it in and, rides with Ben Johnson, that this thing could really take off for them and he could be special. He's got the ability to do that, but I need to see the ability to make the plays that you have to make as a quarterback. And I hesitate to say the easy plays, but some of those throws that we see him miss are not as difficult as some of the throws that we see him make. And it's been a consistent thing that's gone on with him since he's come into the league.
Amen. 90 seconds left. 2 topics. You get it all. First, Max Bredesen, the Michigan rookie fullback, tight end, hybrid H-back. What'd you think of Max when he played for the Wolverines?
I mean, he's one of those guys that just is in the breed of a Wolverine. He's just tough. I mean, and you're going to get that. You're going to get a team guy. You're going to get toughness. You're going to get a willingness to stick your nose in there. That's what they do in Ann Arbor, and that's what they've based their existence on, is those offensive linemen. Everybody on that team has got to block. Everybody on that team has got to be team first, and that's what that name means to me.
And lastly, from the world of the NHL, Dylan Larkin supposedly has requested a trade out of Detroit. Dylan, at this stage of his career, the centerman, Dylan Larkin, what do you think?
Still a good player, man. I mean, look, there's some issues there in that he's part of a group that has collapsed the last 3-4 years when they had a chance to make the playoffs, and now they've missed the playoffs for 10 consecutive years. If you look at his numbers over the last month and a half of the season, I think he had 1 5-on-5 goal during that time, which was problematic.
Hey. But
he's been over 30 goals in each of the last 4 or 5 seasons. He was on the ice for the gold medal winning goal for Team USA. He's good in 4 nations. I mean, he's a really good player. I don't think he's ever going to be the best player on a team that wins the Stanley Cup. And I think, unfortunately, he was kind of cast in that role here in Detroit, and it just didn't work out. It's a tough thing. He's a local kid, had a lot of fans, but this team has got to change direction now. And even with that no trade clause, I'm not sure that there wouldn't have been conversation from Steve Yzerman about dealing him, even if he hadn't made that request, because I just think they need to find a different way to do things in Detroit, because the way they're trying to do it doesn't work now. But if a team grabs him, and Minnesota is a team that has come up that we've heard here, if a team grabs him and he's your second line center, I think you're going to be really happy with Dylan Larkin. He's a good kid. He fights, but it's just, in my opinion, he's been the leading light for a team that just has not been able to get out of the darkness for a long time.
You're so kind. Thank you very much for the early June time. May God bless you and your wife. And I look forward to chatting with you around training camp, okay?
I appreciate you, brother. Anytime. You know that.
See ya. Dan the Man on the Fan, Dan Miller, Vox for the Motor City Kitties. From that, we go to the Moose. the Moose. The Moose is on fire. Marcus Foligno joins 9 to noon next.
You're listening to PA.
We'll have Birdhouse Crafting from 9 to noon.
Comes the Moose. Off-season conversation with Marcus Foligno. Sweet. In-season conversations with Marcus Foligno. Super sweet. Winning the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. That's fantastic. And this year it went to this guy.
Landeskog, left one back in the point. It's turned over. It's going to be a break for Marcus Foligno. Short-handed. Foligno in. Made a move to his backhand. He scores! Marcus Foligno short-handed! And the Wild lead the second period. Have a 5-4 lead.
Moose, it's Paul Allen. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Paul. Doing well. How are you doing?
Right on, brother. Thanks for the time early in June, and congratulations on the King Clancy Memorial Trophy for leadership on and off the ice. Now, Marcus's brother Nick was awarded the King Clancy like 10 years ago. What a wonderful accomplishment, man. I know that that helps you smell the roses a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Obviously, it's a huge honor to win this award. You know, it kind of goes both ways. Yes, there's a lot of, you know, the things that we've done with the fundraiser this year, but I got a great organization behind me and a lot of people hard at work that did a lot of great advertising and kind of marketing for this campaign this year, this initiative, and can't thank them enough. And people like you guys too, promoting it, pushing it, social media, things like that. It was, you know, it's just to see it all come together and see the impact we made to get a grant to the Masonic Cancer Center here in Minnesota, where we get to keep it here locally, which I'm, you know, even more proud about. But it was a great ending to the year, obviously, with this initiative, and a lot of people helped out in getting this award for me.
Well, the Foligno Face-Off raised more than $200,000 for breast cancer research just this year. How did you, with the King Clancy, how did you learn that you had won that award?
Honestly, it was right there in the video on NHL socials and stuff like that, where I thought we were kind of going to, you know, Masonic Cancer Center to meet Dr. Chris Pennell again and do a little lab tour and stuff like that, just to wrap up the Foligno Face-Off fundraiser and kind of present them with the grant. So that was kind of Aaron Stickman kind of had it labeled for us to kind of go there on Monday morning a couple weeks back and just kind of wrap up the whole initiative. So that was it. And then obviously you turn a corner in a different room, and then there's my brother with the trophy. So it was very surprising and just a special moment for sure for me and my family.
That's great, my brother. Marcus, what is your view on the importance of using your platform? And God has gifted you with quite the platform, and, you know, there's income to go with it and things like that. The importance of using that platform to benefit others. How much does that matter to you?
It matters a lot. I mean, I think, you know, I'm lucky I got to learn it from my father, who I've seen firsthand when I was younger, the way he established himself in communities and gave back to communities, and the way he played and when he coached. And, you know what, it just goes a long way, and it's the right thing to do. I mean, like you said, we're given a great platform. You know, you want to use it for the greater good. There's a lot of people that we get to meet and help facilitate things like this, where you can create a fundraiser and people are so gracious and giving. And, you know, at the same time, it's all about honoring our mother too. So, you know, you can get carried away a little bit, but, you know, you got to remember, you know, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and to stay humble in the fact that, this has been something that's affected a lot of people, everyone really, and it's sad. And unfortunately, there's losses behind it, and you can do good by spreading hope, by spreading, you know, the research behind it, and, you know, eventually one day, you know, gain a cure for many cancer types. So that's the brain behind it. That's the mind behind it. And you know, at the same time, my brother and I, sisters, wives, and obviously my father get to carry on my mother's legacy, which is probably the most thing. And we want to respect her, honor her, and doing things like this is why we want to do it.
Amen. Beautifully laid out. Lastly on this, how do you handle this? Like, do you nudge teammates to consider charities, or is that an individual decision? How do you handle that?
You know what? I mean, we're lucky we got approached by the NHLPA for this initiative, but there's every season you start off, you know, the Wild organization talks to guys about what they're interested in with giving back to the communities and stuff. So we have it kind of labeled out via, you know, our organization and obviously through the Minnesota Wild Foundation too, with the charity work that we do with, you know, the whiskey wine event, the big children's gala that we have on the floor of the Grand Casino Arena. So there's a lot of things that we do with the team, and then there's things that you can do separately. You know, a lot of guys go out of their way, and rightfully so, to, you might not see it on camera all the time, but it's hospital visits, it's, you know, giving food to the less fortunate, things like that, you know, guys take pride in. So, this is something that, you know, we just, with coming from my family, it's something that I've always talked about with our organization. Of anything I can do to help out with cancer and cancer research and raising funds, and I'm all for it.
Amen, man. You're up. You and your brother are fantastic with that, and we greatly appreciate it. Are you watching the Stanley Cup final between Carolina and Vegas?
Yeah, unfortunately I am. Yeah, I've been watching. You know, it's at the end of the day, we're all fans. We all love the game. So
right.
I know some guys can't stand to watch it when you're out, and you know, there's some moments where you kick yourself, but yeah, you know, you're still trying to study the game, watch the game, see what types of teams, right, are winning the Stanley Cup. So it's all motivation at the end of the day to want to be there in those guys' shoes right now, Carolina and Vegas, and fuels the fire a little more for next season. But yeah, definitely watching right now.
Ever take a puck to the face like Braden McNabb?
Actually, it's funny. Braden McNabb's a good friend of mine. We roomed together my first year in Buffalo and in Rochester days before we both got called up, and he actually, we're on a 5-on-3 in Rochester, and he actually took a one-timer to my face and knocked out my 2 front teeth. So when that happened, I was like, you know what, karma's great, man. It's awesome. So I texted him after the game, and he seems to be okay.
Well, this last night, I mean, what a terrific game it was last night. Carolina down 2-0. You go down, you lose your first 2 at home. I know it's hockey and puck luck and tightly contested things. And sure, they could go to Vegas and win a couple, but who wants to be down 0-2 in the Stanley Cup final with the first 2 games in your place? So they rally, they win. Jarvis wins it in overtime on the power play. But I was thinking about you a little bit last night, knowing that you were going to be on the radio show today. Brett Howden, I don't know if he's like 4th line guy still, or, you know, because things fluctuate during games. He has 15 playoff goals identifiable behind the Eichels and Stones and so on. Then you get Mark Jankowski for Carolina. He's a 4th liner scoring a huge goal last night. How about that? The ancillary pieces, the deep line guys are coming through, Moose.
No, absolutely. It's so big, right? You need depth. You need guys like that, your 3rd or 4th line to step in, and the longer a team goes, it's because of that stuff. So, you know, you've seen it. We always talk about depth in playoffs. It's huge, and yeah, it's something that's just needed. Any team that goes a distance is going to get something like that, a little bit of an unsung hero that
right.
steps up and has a great run. So, yeah, you're seeing Brett Howden. I mean, he's a really good player, and he plays with some really, you know, fast pace too, and he's finishing right now. Sometimes it's going in. I'm sure he's had lists like that all season, but sometimes it just doesn't go in for you, right? So it's things like that any team that wins a cup, you're going to look back at their roster and say, wow, they got some big production from some guys that, you know, probably didn't expect it.
How close do you think you guys are to getting to the Stanley Cup?
I mean, it's, you grip the couch a little bit watching it, because you see that, you know, it shoulda, woulda, coulda this year, right? It's frustrating that standpoint I do believe we were close. I mean, you had some injuries to Eriksson Ek and Brodin that hurt us in a timely series against pieces that those guys did do really well against, and you take those 2 guys out, and it affects you. I'm not making excuses, but it's just that's reality. That's the facts, and you know, we really like our team. I think the biggest positivity coming out of all of this is, you know, we are right there. You know, we are a team that can compete, that can be put in the conversation of a Stanley Cup contender, and it's about pushing ourselves over the edge now. Being
Marcus, being a finely trained athlete, when you watch sporting events like Stanley Cup Final, all right, and it's, you know, your season didn't end that long ago, and you don't get training camp for months and change. So, like, if you're hungry during these games, do you just let it go? I mean, is it nachos with whatever you want, bag of Doritos? Like when Marcus Foligno lets loose, knowing, all right, I'm going to have to condition all of this off, but darn it, I'm going to have a good time. Like what do you eat?
You know what? You give yourself some time for sure. You're not so stressed out about what's going in your body for sure for a couple of weeks. But once you start getting in the swing of things again, training, then that's when you dial it back in. But, as you get older, you can't let yourself go too much because it takes a while to get it back. So, it's one of those things that, you enjoy a beer, you enjoy a cocktail, you enjoy some pizza and some stuff like that. But, weeks go by and you start looking at your body in the mirror and you say, all right, this has got to change. So, you try to keep it tight, try to keep it so not so far that you're dying in the first 2 weeks of getting back in the gym. So, but luckily I got a couple experience of that now, being in the league for so long. But it's something that you definitely relax a little bit after the season and you can get away with some cheat meals.
A couple of quickies to close here for Moose. Marcus Foligno, he's the winner of the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, which personifies leadership on and off the ice. Really, really cool and well-deserved. Heinze, playing for Coach Hines. What do you like about playing for John, and what makes him good?
Yeah, Heinz is a great communicator in the way we have to play. Obviously, he's a good coach, X's and O's, the system, the way we need to be efficient and winning. I thought, the Dallas series, he did a great job with finding holes in their game and adjusting to certain things. At Colorado, I think that was, just us kind of getting away from our game. That was more on us players and we like to have obviously a better effort in game 4 with just our simplicity of the game. But for the most part, like I said, you're going down two great players with Eric Sinek and Brodeen going into that dogfight. So it's tough. And, but our coaching staff all year, I mean, they do a good job at, Heinze in general just does a good job of keeping us level headed and throughout an 82 game season and, making sure that, we're the elite team that we come to work every day and we've got to demand perfection out of each other. So, he's done a great job with our group and, we seem to be, throughout the year, you kind of want to be in sync and just on the same wavelength as your coach and what's demanded. And we got a lot of great guys, great character that understand the work effort needs to be put in every day, and Heinz respects it. Your
brother Nick is unrestricted. Do you think he'll be back here next year?
I would like, in my head, yeah, absolutely. Nick's got a lot of decisions to make and he's got to think about himself and his family. He's played a long time now and I just comes down to where he feels comfortable if he wants to move on and play one more year or whatnot. Obviously he knows how exciting it was to play in Minnesota. I think that was the greatest thing, having him here and having some success in the playoffs and seeing, his impact for our team too, especially as you talk about depth scoring, in Colorado series, he played really well for us and that's what's needed, right? So he's a guy that cares and works hard, a lot like me, and just in general, just he's going to come in and compete every night. He's going to demand it from everyone else and not going to have to really worry about a player like that showing up every day. So, I think it would be a great piece for us next season for sure. Obviously playing alongside your brother was a dream come true and you want that dream to last as long as possible. So for me, it's just hoping that I can persuade him this summer on a campfire and come July 1st, he'll be a little bit more eager to maybe do it for one more year.
That's sweet. Now, lastly, I see it's reported that Red Wings centerman Dylan Larkin is requesting a trade from the Wings. You've played Dylan. He's a veteran like you. What do you think of Dylan Larkin's game?
Oh, I mean, he's a great player, unreal player. He drives plays, right? Like, he's very fast. He's got a great skating ability, shot, vision. It's I don't think you have to worry about his compete level either. Like he's a great player there. There's times that players get stuck in situations, right? And sometimes change is good, but for Dylan Larkin as a player, I mean, he's a great player, centerman. I'm sure he can play the wing as well. He's a guy that competes and got a great skill set. And I think the speed of Dylan Larkin is what sets him apart from being, great, not good. So, great player.
Amen. Congratulations on the King Clancy. Well-deserved and well-earned. Have a wonderful summer, and we'll talk somewhere close to the season, okay?
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate all the support this year through that fundraiser. You guys did a lot, so I thank you for having me on throughout the year and promoting it, and you guys have a great summer, too. Thank you.
Anytime, my brother, is the greater good. Thank you very much. Marcus Foligno, the King Clancy Memorial Trophy winner, and his brother Nick won it about 10 years ago. It's a family affair. It's 11:03. Good morning. When we return, we will reintroduce the 3 stacks that we laid out, start running some talkbacks on said stacks. One involves the Timberwolves and trade targets. The other involves the Minnesota Vikings quarterbacks room. And another involves the hierarchy or the rankings in the NFC North. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. It's a beautiful Friday in the neighborhood heading into the weekend, and you're listening to FM 100.3 KFAN.
Time for you to vent to the Vox, taking your takes and talkbacks through the iHeart